you go. Frankie, how does it feel to be a sheep at North Star Farm? He doesn't seem interested in answering. Hey, I'm Justin Cam. I'm the owner at North Star Farm. I am a shepherd, a blueberry farmer, a retailer, and a hotelier. Don't be afraid of doing something different, creating an experience for people. Pretty serious health issues. Just couldn't breathe, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, lost 40 pounds in 6 weeks. We inherited 15 acres of blueberry bushes, about 18,000 bushes. Functionally, they mow the grass, keep the weed pressure down, but really they're just adorable pets. They interact with guests. And so the two white ones, Bruce and Frankie, we got right after they were born, a little over a year ago. And then the other 5 came from a overcrowded barn. And they're all kind of between 2 and 6 years old. We're not quite sure how old each they are. So this guy, the big one, is named Fancy Pants because you can see the markings on his hind legs there. They look like pants. And he's a Harlequin. It's his breed. The other 6 are baby doll sheep. But this is Simone. She's the smallest one, but she's the most aggressive, food driven. And then the 2 white ones are Bruce and Frankie. We call them the twins, and they're the interns because they're the youngest. Whitney right here is the most shy. She rarely gets close to you. And then the one with the white snout is Janet. And the other gray one right there, scratching himself, is Marvin. They're all, other than Fancy Pants, they're all actually named after musical artists. So Bruce Springsteen and Frankie Valli. Whitney Houston, Janet Jackson, Marvin Gaye, and Nina Simone. So when we bought this place 2.5 years ago, we inherited 15 acres of blueberry bushes, about 18,000 bushes. They had an irrigation system that was half installed, so not operating. And the bushes, even though they've been planted in 2012 and were 11 years old, at the time they looked like they were 2 or 3 years old because they hadn't been getting the proper nutrients and water. And so the first big thing we invested in when we bought the farm was an irrigation system, completing it. And so you can see the pond over there that feeds all 3 fields. And these bushes have more than doubled in size over the last 2 seasons, just because they're getting enough water. They don't really need much other than that. Blueberry bushes are very resilient. Our soil here, we're lucky, is perfectly managed for blueberries. And I think that's because this was before it was a blueberry farm, this was dairy farmland. And the soil was so rich in nutrients that are appropriate for blueberries that it was a natural move to plant them. So the owner, I think the previous owner, had recognized that, and that's why they planted blueberry bushes. But we've been at a bunch of markets. We brought them down to the city, to markets there where they sell for a much higher price. Locally, it's nice. We will sell through the 607 CSA, local distributor. We freeze the berries so we can sell them year round. And we sell them to the local community as well. U-pick operation is a big deal. People come pick their own. We're trying to expand that part of the business. It's good for the community, and it's good for us as well. When we bought the farm, it was a blueberry farm, and that's all that was here was the blueberry bushes. And so we quickly realized we had to, if this farm was going to survive, then we needed to find other ways to make money, create revenue. And I have a background in building businesses. I worked in finance and venture capital for a couple of decades. And I realized we needed to figure out what our advantage was. How can we create a real business out of the farm without turning it into Disneyland, turning it into an amusement park, really? And so the way we did that was to, we started posting on social media and started trying to figure out what works. And we realized the advantage that small and medium-sized farms have over big farms is connection to people, to the community. And so we needed to find a way to bring people to the farm and create experiences for them where they could connect with the farm and have a relationship with the customer, because we viewed that as our advantage over larger farms and how we could create diversified revenue streams. The way we chose to do that, there's a lot of different ways to do that, was by creating a hospitality venue. And so we built geodesic domes for glamping. It's a nicer experience than you typically encounter within camping or glamping. First dome is called Star Dome. It's more of a common area. So we've got the sauna, which anybody can use. It stays here, and it's all wood fired. You can see the wood pile over here. So there's a little stove in the back. We feed the wood in there, and it heats up. We have an outdoor shower. And in Star Dome is really like a yoga studio. We host classes in here and other programming. You want to
Sure.
come in and see? Sense for the space here. So we have all the yoga blocks and blankets and mats. It's climate controlled. We have mini split units in all the domes. And all of these big picture windows that open up. The incredible views. And we're still building this out a little bit, but we sell apparel. It's kind of a little store. And we have a tea bar curated locally, Tay Teas, which is over in Delhi. Supplies our tea, and we're working on our own white labeled tea with our own kind of formula that we're also going to use up here. We've got these beautiful sunsets that happen right over the mountain, right here. And as everybody who lives in this area knows, the sky is amazing. We keep the lighting very low. We have very dim solar lights outside, so people can see the stars at night. There's no light pollution up here. In a couple of weeks, you'll see this area will just become wildflowers, a lot of colors that come through. It's very green right now. But the colors really start to come out towards the end of June. It's always 10 o'clock at night, something breaks and you need to come fix, and things you don't necessarily want to do, but the feedback we've gotten really is the fuel for us to keep going. It's, people love this place, and they say things like, this is the first time I've been able to breathe in a long time. I didn't realize how stressed I was. My nervous system finally relaxed. And there's people who propose to their spouses and get engaged up here. They celebrate anniversaries, they celebrate birthdays, and I see the joy on people's faces, and being able to provide that experience for people makes everything else totally worth it, The reason we chose the domes is that they're by far the most eco-friendly choice to make when it comes to manufacturing and when it comes to operation as well. And so the outside you can see is just the structure. This is PVC piping. We've got this canvas kind of outer layer and an insulation layer. So it's not like a home where you would build. You have all these mechanicals and wood and all this other stuff. And then from a energy usage standpoint and from a health standpoint, they just ventilate really well and they use energy very efficiently. They get a little hot in the summer, and we're still figuring out how to, we're taking some steps to mitigate that. The structure that goes along with our health story, our family, and how that all happened, and using eco-friendly products, organic products, in the domes, the ones that people stay in, and the structure itself was super important to us. And so we sought out what the best products were and the best structures to build for a very friendly environment for people, for their health situations, and from a manufacturing standpoint too. So we started bringing people to the farm, and people would kind of, the reaction was not what we expected. It was people saying things like, I can breathe for the first time, or I felt myself relax for the first time in a long time, and we realized people are living these very stressful go, go, go lives, and they never get to connect with nature the way our bodies were meant to respond. We're under fluorescent lights, and we're sitting in traffic, and we're in front of screens all day, and sitting down all day, and our bodies are not meant for that. We're meant to slow down and be outside and do physical work. And so bringing people to a working farm, but also creating this luxury hospitality experience has really resonated with people. And so the hospitality element has become the underlying revenue stream for the farm, and what enables us to farm the way we want to farm, right? We're not forced to accept government subsidies to grow our crops, and we can farm in an organic way. We can manage things organically and not spray our bushes because we're not forced to increase yield, because we don't have to sell more product. And so it's really allows us, the hospitality element allows us to stay true to the way we believe farming should be done. I was born in Syracuse, New York, but grew up in New Jersey. I went off to school, traveled around a little bit, lived in some different places, Los Angeles, lived in Miami, and then when I met my wife back in New York, we wound up settling back in North Jersey, and we raised our family there. And then during the COVID years, we had some pretty serious health issues with our family, particularly myself. I started having seizures, and we couldn't figure out why. Just couldn't breathe, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, lost 40 pounds in 6 weeks. It was an absolute nightmare. I spent about 2 years where I wasn't able to leave the house. And so I had to stop working. A few months into that nightmare, my oldest son, started having some neurological issues as well. And we couldn't find answers. But when he got sick, we realized that it wasn't a coincidence. There was something happening that we're both exposed to or in our environment that was causing this to happen. Found out we were living in a black mold infested home. And that's one of the reasons why, it is the reason why we built these domes in a very health conscious way, an environmentally friendly way, because we realized how toxic homes could be. But so, you know, when I started recovering a couple of years into it in 2023, we started looking at ways we could get out of our stressful lives in New Jersey and out of that environment to escape and reconnect with nature and rewire our nervous systems and our immune systems to function the way they were supposed to function, which is not an easy thing to do, but connection with nature and being outside is in clean air and is a big part of that. And so we started looking at different places that we could potentially buy as a weekend getaway, and somewhere along the lines we came across this amazing blueberry farm in Franklin, New York that was for sale, and we decided to go visit. It was a little bit further away than we were looking to buy something, but the minute we set foot on this land, we absolutely fell in love with it and were drawn to it and felt connected to it. And so we wound up buying North Star Farm at the end of 2023, and the intention of just using it as a weekend getaway. And the more we came up here, the more we felt drawn to this place, and we felt like it was the right place for our family to be and to live. And so about a year ago, in March of 2025, we moved up here full time and sold our house in New Jersey. And it's been a long road to recovery health-wise. We're still working on it about 5.5 years later. But we're making great progress, and this place is helping. And as we spent more time here, I also couldn't help but notice the parallels between the farm itself and our health journey and what this farm had been through. And so it was a farm that was kind of half built, didn't have the proper inputs that it needed to thrive. And that really resonated with me from a health standpoint, because it's the same thing. We live in this world where we're using toxic products, we're eating processed foods, and we're not getting the nutrients we need and the the foods we eat anymore because it's farmed a certain way. And so all this is really connected, right? As humans, we're connected to nature, and nature's connected to us. And so I didn't really understand that until I started spending time here. My message to other people who run small farms is, don't be afraid of doing something different, creating an experience for people. You're frustrated constantly by the fact that it's getting harder and harder to make a living farming. But the way to kind of defend that and to be able to still farm the way you want to farm and do things the way they're traditionally done is through these diversified revenue streams. And it might be farm tours, farm dinners. Take stock of what you do well, what you like doing, what you're good at, what your skills and abilities are, and then apply that, right? And so, you know, if you're somebody who likes to cook, you make this amazing chili, right? You make a bowl of chili and you start hosting farm dinners on Sunday nights once a week. And that turns into this experience that people love, and then maybe you can package that chili and sell it to them afterwards. And you know, thinking about farms differently, running them like diversified businesses as opposed to commoditized crop businesses is the message. The Instagram account for me just started out as a personal thing. It didn't really have anything to do with the business, and I didn't connect them at the time, but the account is at Daily Pasture. And I fooled around with a lot of different formats and a lot of different topics kind of in the beginning, just stuff that was on my mind and trying to find what resonated with people. I became increasingly frustrated with politics. I mean, food is politics and farming is politics. And so it's highly relevant. And I post personal opinions and views, and I try and toe the line and make it entertaining and funny and make it satire. And I started connecting the sheep and the metaphor of the sheep and kind of people following and being brainwashed like sheep. It's their nature. And so turn that metaphor into these politically themed posts that started going viral and started getting a lot of attention. And I don't like talking about politics every day, all day. It's not the main motivation of the account, but talking about politics within the context of animal satire works. George Orwell's done it. It's been done in literature and in movies, and so it just started resonating with people, and it draws a lot of attention, and it's enabled me to create a world of characters in this universe that people want to experience in person, right? And so it ties into our hospitality elements where it helps bring people to the farm because people want to meet the sheep. They become kind of little celebrities. And when they come to the farm, we get the opportunity to teach them where their food comes from and what working farms are actually doing, and the hardships, the challenges, and then the beautiful things about it too. And so a lot of people come up from the city and they don't know where blueberries come from. You know, they think they come from the grocery store, and they don't. And people grow food on farms like this, and the farms like this are dying. And so the ability to bring people in through social media, bring them to a place that they wouldn't normally go to or get to experience, and then educate them on what actually goes on, not only on this farm, but in rural America in general, I think is having a real positive impact, not only on the community around here, but on all the people that come to stay here. And we hope to grow that over time and keep kind of getting that message out. Everything we do up here and every message we try to impart on people and the lessons we try to impart so that people can avoid kind of the same health fate that we have. And so we're living a life that we believe is a healthy one and is a model for other people in terms of building a business, in terms of a way to live. And we just try to walk the path that we talk. And that's what we're trying to do now. We're in the early stages. We have a lot of work to do, but I think we're heading in the right direction, and we've got something really special here. Frankie, what are your thoughts on Kento Iragashi? How does the microphone taste?